Hello and welcome to episode 62 of the Boot Nerds podcast. JayMike, what's up?
Well, you know, the usual, not much bored out of my mind, shooting a little bit of video here and there. And I also, how do you like my, well, I want to say, how do you like my hair, but there's not any left. I got a Corona haircut, man.
I noticed the buzz cut. That's what everyone's doing.
It's all gone, man. It's all gone. When are you going to shave off your hair?
You know what? Maybe this is weird. I feel like most men or boys have probably had a buzz cut at one point in their life. I don't think I've ever had that haircut.
Now is the time. I think it would look absolutely insane.
I don't know. I'm afraid. I'm like, I haven't changed my hairstyle in a very long time. Yeah, since I had the just wake up every morning style.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I'm not too adventurous with hairstyles. I gotta be honest. It seems very practical though. I can imagine.
I would love it if you did it. I think everyone on the podcast would love it if you did it. And after all, it's going to grow back out. So what do you have to lose?
Good. I mean, we'll see. We'll see what happens. I'm not making any promises there.
That means no. Anyways, enough about hairstyles. It's not the Boot Hair podcast or Hair Nerds podcast or whatever we should call it. It is the Boot Nerds podcast, and we are going to talk about signature football boots today, of course, in the wake of the release of Neymar's latest Jogo Prismatico football boot, which is, by the way, pretty cool. I gotta say, I think it's nice. We're gonna discuss some of the other big players with signature boots. So Messi, who has an F50 Adizero from 2014, which looks like a suspicious lot like this. We also have a pair of Ronaldo Superfly 6 level ups that also uses more or less the exact same colors. We're going to talk about that, and also we're going to dive a bit into our favorite signature boots from those three players. Obviously, we're going to answer a few questions, and it's all going to be fun and games. So, Josh, before we start, what do you think of this latest boot for Neymar Jr.?
I gotta be honest, it's not my style. I think it looks cool. I don't know. I've never been into actually wearing like the very like rainbow colored boots. I gotta be honest.
No,
but it's if you like the flashiness, then yeah, I think there's a lot to like about it. I love the idea of having a white base and then doing contrast colors on the upper. I think it really makes the patterns stand out really nicely. It's an aesthetically pleasing boot for sure. It's just not my style. I personally prefer his previous signature on the Vapor 13, which can't remember the name of.
Speed Freak. That was good.
That I would prefer those over these.
I'd probably agree with you. Yeah. But I mean, it's still I think it's a fairly fine looking boot, I would say, and it's cool that they kind of made it a Neymar signature boot greatest hits with a lot of references to at least his Mercurial signature boots we've had in there. It's pretty cool, but I mean, the man is cursed. You know, he gets a new pair of signature boots. He gets the and he's Silencio, and he's injured. Like, you know, he's had so many pair of boots where he either got injured or was injured when he had them. And now, you know, he's all fine and ready to play, and freaking quarantine hits. I mean, what are the odds? The man is cursed.
I mean, not an ideal situation for sure, but I don't know. I think it's, out of all of his signatures, I think it's probably one of the better ones. And I'm not super familiar with this colorway yet. I haven't seen them in person, but isn't the whole concept behind this is to kind of make callbacks to previous colorways within the patterns?
Well, ish, yeah. I mean, basically, so what they want to do with the name Jogo Prismatico is, I mean, I don't speak Portuguese, but it's something about how, you know, when light is reflected or shining through a prism, so basically like a piece of glass, and it shoots out many different colors, and that is supposed to be Neymar's game, because he is he is all the different colors. He improvises a lot. He's very impulsive. You know, he's bold. He takes risks, and you know, it's basically the marketer's dream. This boot, cool story, bro. But it looks cool. So I don't know.
can't come. That description made me. You ever been to like a sunglasses store and you ask what the difference is between regular sunglasses and polarized? Because the polarized ones are always way more expensive, right?
Yeah,
and then they pull out this like random prism and they have you look at it with the regular glasses and the polarized ones, and the polarized ones make it so much more colorful for some reason.
Yeah.
That's what your description just made me think of. Also, that kind of also made me think of the polarized pack Nemesis, which that kind of has a similar color scheme too.
True. What do you got to do? So this is basically the Jogo Prismatico, aka polarized Vapor 13. I like it. But as you said, it's probably not your favorite Neymar signature boot. How do you want to do this? Should we discuss the similarities between this and the 2014 Messi boots first, or should we kind of go over each player's best signature boots as we go along? Because I think a lot of people out there have noticed that we've kind of seen this way of designing stuff with a white base and colorful stuff on both the Messi and Ronaldo boots before.
Yeah, I think we start with that because it just makes more sense. Because as soon as I started posting pictures of it, like everyone did on Instagram, I think you had two groups of people. The group that's not a boot nerd, let's say. And they're like, oh, wow, that's really cool. And then you have all the boot nerds like, hey, we've seen that before. Which it was immediately my first impression as well. At no point when I first saw that, I was like, oh, that's a good color. I'm like, oh, that looks like the Messi boot.
But it did. Actually, the first thing I thought about was the Radian Reveal Vapor 10, if you remember that. It was also white and had those like yellow and red lines, wavy lines going across.
Yeah, I saw a few people mention that. Radiant Reveal, definitely the same color combo, but yeah. I mean, when you
that
hold
is
these
more
up,
obvious.
Yeah, I mean, it's just that's exactly what it is. The colors are almost in the same order as well, which is kind of hilarious. Actually, technically not, but it's pretty close.
It's pretty cool, yeah. The funny thing was that back when Messi wore that, he was playing with Neymar at Barcelona. So you can kind of say that now Neymar has moved on to PSG and the student has become the master. I don't know, Messi is not, necessarily a student of Neymar's, but you know what I mean. It's like he's become his own player and now he gets his own white boot with colors on.
Well, can you imagine if he goes back
to Barcelona?
Yeah, let's say he goes back and he's still wearing this boot, which the odds of that happening are probably pretty unlikely. If Adi doesn't make Messi a boot in this remake color immediately, they're missing a huge opportunity.
They are indeed. So which do you like more out of these two?
I gotta be honest. I think that the detail in the Nike version is, I think, a lot better than this one. This to me, like when I look at this boot now, I think at the time I was really impressed by it. But when you look at the patterns now, given the complexity of how I think brands have been able to print different patterns on uppers, this almost looks like kind of like the generic backgrounds in PowerPoint or something like that. It's just like a bunch of just random lines made to look kind of modern, but it's kind of generic at the same time, where I feel like every little detail on that boot there was some thought behind it,
You know what? I'll actually buy that point. That's a fair one. I just have a thing for that particular Messi boot. It just, to me, it does something with how the colors are basically coming up from the bottom on the toe box. That's special to me, and I think it, the whole vault toe box on the Vapors, it's a little bit hard to see what it actually is and what the pattern is. Whereas on the Messi boot, the pattern is very clearly defined and the colors cross over more naturally. Either you like the whole gradient thing that Nike are doing, or you like what they did on the Adi boot. I think the Adi boot is more blocky and very, it's a little bit more retro, and I kind of like that.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I'm not going to argue.
But do you reckon Nike actually copied Adidas in this one? Like, did they look at Messi's boot and thought, that looks pretty cool, let's do something similar?
I have to believe that when Nike's designing Neymar's next signature boot, they're not going back. Hey, what did Adi do back in 2014 for Messi? Oh, you know what? That's a pretty good idea. Let's do that. I have reason to believe they're not going to do that. This whole everyone's copying everybody with the colorways thing, I think is a little bit nuts. Like, you're going to have similar color combos from brand to brand, and some of those color combos are going to repeat themselves. This, I think there is a fair shout to say, yeah, hey, that looks suspiciously similar to what Adi has done in the past. But at the same time, is it that original to have this kind of rainbow color palette across a boot? At this point, I don't think so.
I mean, the second Nike decided to put a lot of colors on the boot, it was going to look somewhat like those Messi boots. And as you said, I dare people out there to come up with a colorway that hasn't been done by one brand in some shape or form before. I mean, I remember back in the day when the Adi Powers and T90 Laser 4s came out, they came out at the same time in more or less the exact same colorway, like this blue, black, and highlight yellow colorway. It was different back then because it seemed really weird that everyone were using the same color schemes at the same time. But this, I think it's more down to chance. And the whole, they went and copied them I think that's just the easy thing to say. And then, you create controversy out of nothing, really.
Yeah. I hate criticizing brands and then not saying what I would have done differently. And I think what I would have done differently on that Neymar boot is I wouldn't have gone with the rainbow. I understand the story behind it and why they did that, but wouldn't that design be really cool if they just kept with like the yellow, blue, and green of Brazil? Like that would have been really cool. But,
or if they had done this, what they did on the insole. I mean, that would have looked...
You're right. You know what? If you take away the white base and you just did that design where you have solid colors split up, I mean... Now you're kind of looking like this a little bit, but
it's impossible. Just stop making football boots anymore. You can't win. It's over.
That's what I'm saying. I think at this point, there's been so much variety in terms of colors and designs that it's very difficult at this point to come up with something that's like truly never been done before.
Yeah, and honestly, it looks a lot alike, but I think it's more down to, coincidence. I don't think it was on purpose, and I don't think anyone is copying anyone because the brands also know that there are people out there who will call them out if it's all too similar. And the same basically goes for the level up Superfly 6s for Ronaldo and Mbappe. I mean, while it's technically not a Ronaldo signature boot, it still says, no, it doesn't. It doesn't say made for the specifications of CR7. Which is odd. But anyway, it just, it's also white and has a rainbow thing on it. Is that a copy? No, it's not.
No, definitely not. Which leads us into, I think, the main topic of this podcast, and that is, what are the best Neymar, Messi, and CR7 signatures of all time? Because they've all had plenty at this point, and we came prepared. JayMike,
we did.
Lead us off.
I'm going to basically start off with Neymar, because Neymar has had a lot of good-looking signature boots made up for him. But I reckon, while I think the best ones are probably, in terms of performance, the Mercurial ones that he's had made lately, I think the best-looking signature boots, we have to go back to the very beginning. And I'm just going to go and get them in the boxes, but we're basically talking the two first Hypervenom colorways.
Yeah, for sure. For those that don't know, Neymar has been pretty much under contract with Nike from the beginning of his professional career. And in the very early days, before he had any signature colorways, he wore Mercurials. But then when Nike decided that they were going to kill the T90 series and replace it with Hypervenom, Neymar was the young main face of that particular line. And he was the first and pretty much the only one to get signature colorways for the Hypervenom throughout its entire run. Did anyone else get? They did the EA Sports one that a few players wore, but I don't think anyone else got a signature Hypervenom. Oh no, Wayne Rooney did, but it was limited. And technically, I think Klose got one as well, but it was also limited.
That was never released, by the way, the leather one.
Oh, did that never actually come out?
No, that never released.
But they only made like 10 or something like that. Did Lewandowski get something at one point? Am I wrong? Maybe. Probably wrong.
They also made one for Vardy, Hypervenom 2, and Mahrez.
Well, If we're talking about widespread releases, Neymar's the only one.
But that was just like a Nike idea or something. Like they made that Mercurial Vapor 10 for Hazard at one point.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're talking about the best Neymar signature boots, and I would say it's hard to beat the Zonyo Jurado here. Not only because it's actually a Hypervenom Phantom 1, it's also just it's borderline ridiculous, but it's so out there that I reckon it's just really, really cool looking, and it screams Neymar.
Yeah, it's such a unique looking boot, and it's got a cool story to go along with it as well. Of Neymar spray painting his boots gold as a child, which I mean, I think you got to be a special type of person to do that, but
you spray paint your boots gold because you basically want to become the best player in the world.
It's a bold move. It's a bold move for sure. But as much as I like those, I prefer the silver ones. That to me that's the one that stands out to me. I think the metallic silver, the chrome reminds me so much. I remember when those came out, I'm like, oh, that's kind of like the chrome line Mercurial Vapor that we never really got a proper remake of. I like that a lot. I like the little extra detail in the silver itself that's not on the gold pair. I think that's very premium with that pattern through the midfoot. I don't know. To me, it's just a very cool boot. It's so many colors going on, but it works.
Totally agree. Absolutely amazing. And I would kill to still have a pair of these. I mean, I'm probably getting too old and I'm not good enough to rock them, but they're really, really wicked, aren't they? But also, Ousadia y Alegria. I mean, it was an absolutely disgustingly bad football boot, but my God, does this look cool.
Yeah, you think so? I'm not as high on those personally.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, I would kill for this, getting his actual Vapor 10s in this colorway. That would be something else. Yeah,
that would be cool. I wonder if anybody, now that you say that, has anyone, because I know some people do get a hold of like pro issued boots down the line. I've never seen an up close pair of like Neymar Vapor Hypervenom things.
I think I've seen them out there, some of his Hypervenom Vapor 10s, but it's not a lot, to be honest. I think he's kept most of them for himself. But yeah, there are a few pairs knocking about with like the real. I think a lot of the some of the Thai collectors have some of them, but they're probably going for mega money. So
yeah,
I'm not even bothered, to be honest. I don't have that sort of money to spend on boots. My girlfriend, she's on me like a hawk, so I can't go and buy like a Neymar Hypervenom Vapor 10. That's just how it is. But I think those are probably, the best Neymar signature colorways for me. What about you? 2 girls over drinks and go.
I really like, because I'm really into the sneakers thing, or was a little bit more so at one point in time. I really like the Jordan 5 inspired Neymars. Specifically, I think the black ones looked a lot better than the white ones, if I'm being honest. I don't know. I just thought that was a cool design. I like the idea behind it. And I think all things considered, they translated it pretty well into football boot form.
I definitely agree. Cool looking boot. For some reason, I like the white one more. Don't crucify me, but I think it looks super clean. But then again, it's just like I have a hard time really loving it because it is a Hypervenom 2.
Yeah, the boot's not ideal, but it was a cool design. I really like the cement print on the sole plate. That to me was cool.
Very wicked, I agree. And even in red, it looked cool. What about some of the later colorways, like on the Mercs?
Oh, we just talked about the Speed Freak one. I think those looked really nice. I mean, the R9 remake ones they did of the Vapor 11 was a pretty good colorway. But
yeah, Puro Fenomeno.
Hard. Your Portuguese makes me laugh. I gotta be honest.
What's it called in Portuguese?
Isn't that Portuguese? Am I wrong?
I think Portuguese Puro Fenomeno.
Oh yeah, I think you're right. I don't know.
I think if you go pure,
I don't commit that hard.
That's Americanized.
Yeah, I don't commit that hard to the accent.
I have no idea what I'm talking about, but I guess that's what they call it. But nonetheless, it was cool. Like the Mercurial R9 design on the outside and his Superfly 2 design that he loved on the inside. Pretty cool. Loved it. Great boot.
It's good. And then the Speed Freak one's really good. Other than that, I don't think there was any that were too. The ones that he wore right when he went to PSG. It was a Vapor 11 as well. The blue ones with the Volt accent.
Yeah, written in the stars.
It had like the blueprint pattern on it. I personally like that design. And you're ready. I'm ready.
So ready, bro.
If you're listening to the audio version of this, you got to click on the video and check out how quickly he's pulling these boots out of nowhere. It's incredible.
To be fair, I just made a video on like going through all of Neymar's signature boots for Unisport. So I basically have them all in a box right next to me.
Perfect. So,
but which we have to like narrow down to one each. Favorite Neymar signature boot so far from Nike?
It's got to be the silver Hypervenom. What was it? Diamond something?
Liquid diamond, yeah.
Liquid diamond, that's what it was. That for me is it. That's my favorite.
I agree. So basically Neymar's teacher and boot signature brother, apparently Messi, has also had a ton of signature boots. You always think about, Ronaldo is the one with by far the most signature boots, but Messi's actually had a lot. And I think he actually had signature boots before Ronaldo did. He did.
Well, Messi's not only had signature colorways, which is what Neymar and Ronaldo have had. He's had signature lines, like his own boot that pretty much he only wears, right? The Messi, the Adidas Messi was a model. It's not technically anymore.
Which was insane, yeah.
Yeah. So he's had a lot. And I got to be honest, and maybe some people are going to be a little bit angry at this. I think that his lineage of signature models, while there have been some good ones, I don't think they've been as strong across the board as Neymar or CR7 in terms of like just the look of the boots. I think some of them that people really like are maybe a little bit overrated in my eyes.
Okay, so let's start from the other side of the coin. Which ones of the Messi signature colorways are overrated?
Okay, people are gonna be mad at me for this because I get people asking me where to get these all the time. This one, the Pibe de Barrio, is that how you say it?
Let's just go with that, yeah. I think
close
it's
enough, right?
Pibe de Barrio, but I have no idea. If there's anyone Portuguese listening to this and I'm absolutely butchering your language, I'm sorry.
Close enough. This one, good boot. Don't get me wrong. I don't think this looks that great. I think that this graphic on the heel looks like somebody, like you ever seen some of those customs?
Yeah.
I say that very, very freely, but where they just kind of take a stencil and they like spray paint on this very generic
bit like,
graphic.
what was the guy who did a lot of sneakers, football boots, Kikazoo or something?
Something like that.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I wasn't super impressed with this graphic. I don't think that the colors are all that impressive. The laces that Adidas put on this boot, and everyone knows how I'm a little bit of a stickler for laces. These are brutal. These have no business being. Jay, look at these laces. They're like round.
Yeah, okay. I just looked at them and saw like, okay, they're different. Like they're actually changing color, which is wicked.
No, they're like the laces you find on like Walmart boots.
Oh, yeah, that's not cool.
They're not good. I don't know. I'm not crazy
why,
about this design. If you
had them, you should go out and buy, basically the Don of football laces, which you can get at SR4ULaces.com because they are wicked and you can get some that glow in the dark. And who doesn't want that? I mean, who doesn't play football in the complete dark? So you can, it's totally awesome.
Another example, this one.
You don't like it?
You know what this reminds me of, Jay? You ever gone to like a hardware store? I guess, I don't know what you guys have over there, but like over here we have like a Home Depot or a Lowe's or something like that. Hardware store. You go to the paint section and they have all the paint samples lined up in rows. That's what this looks like. This looks like somebody made this like design of colors that you might want to incorporate into the interior design of your living room, but they put it on a football boot. That's what this reminds me of.
To be fair, I don't think the green is a little bit out of place. Otherwise, I think it would have looked pretty good. But I agree. Yeah. It's not the strongest. Yeah, it's not the strongest.
I don't know if anyone looks back at this as like an all-time great colorway. But again, it's just one of those colorways. I'm like, is that really amazing? Not really.
I'm going to say something controversial here. I can also go and get them, but I didn't take them because I didn't reckon we were going to talk about them. So you talk a little bit more and I'll go and get them.
Okay. Let me be a little bit nice for a second because I think there is one that I really like, and it's the Battle Pack one of the F50 Adizero. So basically, for the 2014 World Cup, Adidas launched the Battle Pack, which featured all the boots, and they had this kind of tribal white and black stripe design, very aggressive looking. But Messi got his own version that kind of had this, I don't know if this is a cheetah print or a leopard print.
Don't tell me you're slacking those off. Come on.
No, I like these. I'm being nice.
Fair
I'm being nice. These are really good. I don't know what print this is, but it had the blue across the top. It had the number 10 in the heel liner, which I thought was a really nice little detail. The Messi logo on the back, very subtle. They did a good job with this one. I really like these. Jay.
So it's basically Josh Exotic approved. It's a tiger pattern. Did you get the reference?
It is. It's very good.
Anyways, I think this is not it's underwhelming. Let's just put no.
Yeah, but I think you can make that argument for the entire Messi Nemesis run. Like they really didn't go hard enough in any colorway. Okay, go ahead. What do you got?
But this is also there's not nah, and it looks then it gets dirty and it's even worse. And then I know a lot of people will get very angry at me, but like I think
those look so cheap. They look so cheap in person.
Like I was expecting something, 15 year. No, it's just like it doesn't look like a premium pair of football boots. And I always think that, white, light blue, and gold. Oh, that looks sounds amazing. And then you get this, and it's just very, very underwhelming. So no, that's a no-go for me. But I do think he's had a lot of good ones. To be fair.
What do you got?
The first one.
I do like those. But
there's no buts.
Do you remember the story behind those? Because I don't.
I don't really think that there was something like a story of, there was a story of how they had like all these studs, the white studs underneath, there are 10 of those. And then they had Messi in the middle because he was like the one standing out.
That is pretty cool. I don't know. I've always liked that colorway because it kind of reminded me of like raw flesh. It kind of has that like, if you tore the skin off your foot, that's kind of what it would look like.
And you like that?
I don't know. I think it's kind of cool.
Bro, what kind of podcast is this turning into? We don't want to hear about your weird preferences here, man.
I need to stop sharing opinions.
I mean, I'm not saying I agree, but I get where you come. I think it looks cool. Let me just put it like, I think it looks cool in the whole split in the middle, and it's nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yada yada. Then they made his then they obviously made that Wicked Samba colorway, which I like a lot. They also made the battle pack that you showed. I think it looks really cool, to be fair. Then they made his Messi. I think the Messi 15.1s could be better. The white blues were all right. 16.1s were generally a hit, I think. These are they bronze?
Good looking boot, copper? But I think a big missed opportunity with Messi signatures is they haven't done, especially lately, they haven't done as much storytelling. Like it's kind of like, here's just some colors. We made a boot that looks cool, but there's not really any meaning behind it. Where I feel like Nike has almost never done that with CR7 or Neymar. They do a good job of like, here's a story and here's how we incorporated that story into a theme of a football boot.
True.
I think that's kind of cool. It makes the boots more memorable. Like, how do you remember that? Oh, remember that bronze and had black stripes, and I think the studs were green, Messi 16 something. Like there's no way to remember that.
There you go. But with that said, I like it and I would still rock it today. It's actually a really good boot, and this stud pattern is absolutely amazeballs. But it actually got better for the Messi 16.1 range. Because these, ladies and gentlemen, bang.
Yep. Really good.
They also
which was totally not a copy of the love to win, hate to lose CR7 Vapor 8.
It is what it is. And actually also was it chapter 3? The one that was basically kind of the same, green grayish, and
it was like forged something.
No, that was chapter 3. No, 3. That was chapter 4.
I know exactly what you're talking about. I don't remember the name of the chapters at this point. It's all a blur to me at this point. But yeah, it had this like greenish blue upper, and then it faded orange from the bottom.
Yeah, well, I think yellow or something like that. But yeah, it was basically signifying his time at Sporting Lisbon, which this could also be. Anyway, everyone's copying everyone, so let's just cut people some slack. And I think this looked pretty cool. And they also made it in white and red, which was dope.
Yeah. I guess for me, the Messi, when you say Messi signature, the three boots that pop in my head, even though it technically wasn't a Messi signature, it was the Chameleon Purple F50 Adizero from 2010.
Which means that
they
this
remade
is
in
also
Nemesis form. I like that. See, cool. That's cool. I like that one. I also think of the F50 iTune It days. I think he had some cool ones where they had that intricate design on the lace cover thing. Those were really cool. I like the white ones specifically. And then the other one that I think of is one that never came out. And I think it was it would have been like a 2011, 2012 F50 Adizero. It was gold with like white trimming.
Ah, yes.
Remember those orange studs?
Yeah. That was
you
one
only
of the
wore them like
boots.
once.
Yeah.
Yeah. Really, those were very cool. I remember those.
And the original gold F50 Adizeros that he wore, at least after the World Cup, I think. Was it after the World Cup?
The Battle Pack ones.
No. Like in 2010.
No.
The OG gold ones.
Oh, yes. You're right.
In leather. That was pretty good.
Yeah, those were cool as well.
So he has had some good ones. The one with the triple suns, that was also pretty cool. And I'm probably alone on that, but that was pretty cool.
All right. Yeah. Okay. So he's had some good ones, which brings us to the main man for
Ronaldo.
Signature colorways, in my opinion.
Start?
Because I think he's just had so many. I feel like people who are not into football boots are going to be able to recognize probably at least a couple CR7 signatures, because there's been some that have just been that standout distinctive. So Jay went back to his boot wall, for those that are listening, and he's rummaging through his boot wall trying to figure out which CR7 signatures to grab, because he's got so many options to choose from. But I think we'll start with probably the biggest one, or at least it's his first one, and that is the Safari print. I have it here in the form of a Superfly 2. So I know that with the Vapor 4 especially, Cristiano Ronaldo did have a couple colorways that he wore almost exclusively, and a lot of people look back at those as signature models. The pine green colorway is the one that comes to mind, but that wasn't an official CR7 colorway. The very first official one was technically this guy right here, which featured this safari print graphic across the entire upper, which somehow this colorway has not really seen a true remake from Nike up until this point. I don't understand why. I'm sure it's going to happen, but how they haven't remade this one, I don't know.
It would basically be the biggest free win of all times. It's one of the most iconic signatures.
When the chapter series thing launched, did you not expect this has to be one of the chapters? I was fully expecting that.
Yes.
And
or
never
at least
happened.
something with a very, very big reference to it. Because, it kind of really kickstarted signature boots, and it's probably one of the most iconic signature boots ever made. So why wouldn't they do it?
And before someone corrects us in the comments, or me specifically, they did incorporate the safari print in reflective form very subtly on the Level Up Mercurial, which we did show on this episode as well.
And it's also there on the
some
stripe
safari
on the back.
prints.
Yeah. That's not good enough.
No, it's not. Jay, what do you got? You went rummage through your shelf. What'd you pick up?
I have so much good stuff. Basically, this was the boot we were talking about. I'm trying to look for the name. I simply it escapes me, and I'm very sorry. But that's, I've just gone through all the Neymar names and all the Messi names. I can't remember also all the Ronaldo names. But I didn't particularly like this. One of those boots that were just like meh to me. But with that said, another one that I never really it looked cool, and I think it's all right, but it's not up there. I think the Chapter 6. It was called
Victoria? No.
No.
Wrong?
Oh, what was it called? God.
Something I can't remember either, but it's a Superfly 6 with the teal upper, black detail in the Flyknit, and then the gold Nike swoosh with the design. I really like those personally. I thought that was one of the better ones in recent times. I really like those.
I agree. You're watching the Boot Nerds podcast. We're experts. It's cool, but it never really did it for me, to be honest. Speaking of boots that did it for me, and speaking of, something that comes up from the bottom, I think the Forged for Greatness was pretty amazing. It had that vibe of the 2010 Superfly 2 Elites with that gray-orange vibe to it. Really, really cool. Just a great looking boot, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's a really good one. That colorway has aged quite well.
Savage Beauty.
Savage Beauty is another good one. I think that the CR7 chapter series as a whole, they did a really good job on. There weren't too many that had like a negative reception. And even the ones that I didn't think were as good, people seem to really like them. And I'm not sure if that's just because of how hardcore some of the CR7 fans are, that they just, as long as there's some CR7 association, they love it. But yeah, I think for the most part, Nike did a good job. Those are good ones as well. I think some of the earlier ones, though, got to be my favorite. That's not a true CR7 signature, but yeah, they look.
But I mean, this was actually a reference to the times at Man United where he wore this, and I think at the time this was some of the closest like tribute we got to the Superfly ones. Just a funny little note.
It's cool. He's had so many good ones, and I think we've pointed out pretty much general release stuff.
Love to win, hate to lose.
Yeah, that's another.
You can't not love this.
There's just so many unique designs that Nike managed to do. And I guess what's great about the Mercurial is it's always been a boot where they're very flexible on what they can do with the graphics. So it's kind of a blank canvas in terms of them playing around with design and where the Nike swoosh is. A lot of flexibility there. Now you got some good stuff, the limited stuff.
But
Rare Gold, Superfly 4. The boot that was never actually supposed to come out, but because people wanted it so bad, Nike decided to release them.
This is amazing. It's one of the that's one of my favorite boots in my collection, to be honest. It cost me an arm and a leg to get him because I missed out because I was doing an interview for flipping Danish television. So, but yeah, I mean, just outstanding, right? Outstanding.
Properly rare as well. What, 333 pairs of those? Yeah. It was very, very limited.
But it gets better.
Oh, it gets better. What do you got?
Do you remember these?
I do. I don't actually have those.
This is probably my most prized pair. Not because not only is it number 14, which is the number that I wear, have always worn. They made 100 pairs, which is also cool, but thanks to my good friend Jolter, it also has a signature on it.
That's pretty sick. That's very cool. Wait, we're skipping a big one. General release. I think there's an argument to be made, and I'm not necessarily saying that this is my opinion, but I think in the modern history of football boots, many people would argue this is the best of the unique colorways. And it's the CR7 Galaxy.
How could we forget?
All right. Like when this came out, people's minds were blown, and rightfully so, because I think that this is still, I mean, it's a football boot that looks like space. What more is there to say about it?
How could we
I would love to see this come back. Oh, I had it on the shelf behind me. I know. I'm like looking at the background through my camera right now, trying to figure out what I'm missing. And I'm like, there's a big one that we're not talking about that we're going to get called out for.
But is it the best one? Is it the best one though?
I think a lot of people would argue that. And I guess it depends on how old you are and how many of CR7's signatures you've seen. But honestly, I think if you took all of his signature models and you just lined them up, all 600 of them, because there's a million at this point, and you had him on the street. Maybe this would be an interesting video. You had him on the street, random people walking by. Which one out of all of these is your favorite? I feel like a lot of people would pick this one out.
True. But don't you think that more people would pick out the Safaris?
I don't think so.
No?
I think that this is viewed as a more unique thing than the Safari. I prefer the Safari. I'll say that much. I think that's a cooler design. I love the Safari print, but this I think has an impact that very few colorways have ever had.
Also agree. So which is the best out of all his signature boots?
For me, it's the original. It's the Safari print one. Has to be. I think this is so cool. I remember when it came out when I was a kid and I was like that. I'm not even really a huge Cristiano Ronaldo fan at that time, but I would love to have these. I just think it's the coolest thing ever.
I agree.
And a little detail that a lot of people don't notice, and you really don't see this unless it's in person, is it has this kind of chevron arrow design going forward where the actual dots kind of fade out a little bit. It actually kind of looks a little bit cheap, if I'm being honest. I wish it was kind of just one solid pattern all the way through, but it is one of those details that you really don't notice until you have them up close.
I think it's wicked. I like it. But it has to be for me also. I agree with you, the best. I mean, Rare Golds would probably also be up there, but it has to be Safari. It kickstarted everything, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's so. Okay. The big question, the very big question: out of all Neymar, Messi, and Ronaldo signature boots, which is the best?
If we were to make a top 10 collective list, I think number one pick. No, but this is what I'm saying. This is how not close it is. If we made a top 10 collective list of the best Neymar, Messi, and CR7 signatures, probably I would venture to guess that 8 out of 10 would be CR7 colorways.
Okay.
You don't think so? You think there's more than 2 out of all of the CR7 colorways? You think that there's more? There's just no way, Jay. There's so many good CR7 colorways. It's impossible. I think that out of everything, I have to pick the Safari CR7. I just think
I'll give you 5. I'll give you 5. That's all I'm going to give you.
Oh, I don't know. I don't think that many would sneak into my list.
Nah. Okay, fair enough. CR7 fanboy. Now, for me, it also has to be the Safaris. I would probably have the liquid diamond up there because they're really cool, but it has to be the Safari.
Safari's cool. And the actual funny part of the Safari print one, and maybe I'm wrong. Is there a backstory to it, or was it just made to look cool?
The Safari print?
Yeah.
It actually came from some sneakers that Nike did with, was it a Japanese? It was like a Japanese release, I think, on some of the sneakers that they did with Atmos. Must be. There was like this pattern on a pair of what's it called?
Air Maxes. It was like black, white, and orange was the sneaker.
Exactly.
I can't remember the name of it. It escapes me right now. The first one but I just think it's funny that the greatest, what we're deeming to be the greatest CR7 colorway ever, out of all these colorways that have this crazy backstory as to why they look the way that they look, there's really no connection between CR7 and Safari print other than, hey, it just looks cool. That's why it's kind of funny.
Yeah, it's pretty wicked. It's pretty. The black and Volt Safari boots were also pretty good, but nowhere near the level of those.
Yeah, for sure. Okay. All right. Well, we agree.
Good. A question here. Let's just do 2 questions. From Brian Okazaki. What are some good futsal shoes for playing on concrete? Basically, those with durable outsoles. I won't be playing on grass anytime soon. Do you wanna take that?
Like really durable. Here's the thing. For me, if I'm going to pick a pair of indoors to wear on the street, which is going to be harder on pretty much any indoor boot, if I know it's going to get destroyed, I'm probably less inclined to spend more money on it. So for me, I think like the ultimate, you don't spend that much, it's pretty durable, and you don't really have to worry about them getting trashed because they're not that much in the first place, is a Samba Classic from Adidas. Like, I think that's such a solid choice. Decent quality leather upper, really good outsole, high rubber lips all the way around, well made, inexpensive. I think those are quite good as an option.
That's a good shout. Yeah, I agree with you. If they have to be on the cheapest side, I would probably go for the Luna Gato 2s. They translate extremely well to the streets. And also my recent favorite, the Ria Gatos, which I think they offer you everything the Luna Gatos do, but just with an even more vapor like touch that's really close. They're very comfortable. I mean, if you have the money, this is a must buy if you play on concrete a lot.
I'm with you on that. I think React Gato is my favorite indoor right now. And if money is not an issue, then that's definitely the one I would get.
Absolutely. Okay. Then let's say there's a question about software. We basically use Premiere Pro and just record two separate. So Josh has a camera, I have a camera. We just stitch them together. We also have a question here from Cathal McKennedy.
It's the ultimate form of social distancing.
It is. Nowhere we're close to each other. It's just like across the Atlantic. Well, guys, what are the best leather boots to buy at the minute? Copa 20 Plus are laces and like Lockdown 0.1s, have a weight burrito. Tongue Chimpo is good, but not the leather feeling. Would the Lotto Stadias be a good way to go? Or is there something I'm forgetting? Can't afford Mizuno's. Well, I just took this because right now there is a very good solution. It's going to be a very shameless plug, but there is a spring sale going on at Unisport, which means that the Made in Japan Mizuno boots are actually like reasonable prices now, and you can also go and get the elite models that are like they're made in Indonesia, but still very well put together. They're 60, 70 euros right now, which is not bad. But you can also go, and I think this is something we keep coming back to, Josh. Tell me if you agree. The Puma King Platinums. Like very, very solid boots.
Yeah, I really like that. That out of like all the mainline leather stuff from Nike, Adi, Puma, I like the King Platinum personally the best, especially if lockdown and having more of a kind of a modern speed boot-esque feel is important. Copa 20 Plus is great. I think from a pure touch perspective, that's probably the best one. But I realize that the laceless thing's not for everybody. But I actually just recently got to try out the King Platinum Laser Touch, which is the limited edition version. Nice. I think a little bit more expensive than it should be for the most part. But I think that the slight amount of added grip provided by the laser etched synthetic that is fused to the kangaroo leather upper, very cool explanation. Bro. Yeah, it does work. The upper on a regular King Platinum is a little bit on the slick side. This adds that little bit of grip. It makes it feel, in terms of grip on the ball, more similar to other modern football boots. But King Platinum, really underrated, I would say.
Absolutely. And you can also get that for like, the Laser Touch is new, so it's not on sale. But, both the Mizuno made in Indonesia, so the Elite boots, and the King Platinum, that would be a very, very solid thing to look at. The Lotto Stadias are also nice. What are they called? The leather boots that they also have? Is it the Stadio 200? The one with the socks?
It's like it's Stadio 202. They have they're Lotto. If you're watching this, fix your naming system because it is rough right now. You can't have two numbers in the name. It can't be the 202.
Nah, that's just stupid, isn't it?
It might even be 203. I don't know. One of those.
I wouldn't necessarily say that from what you've told me and what I've seen, it doesn't look like the most premium leather boot out there. And I would probably go for the Puma King Platinums or the Elite Mizuno boots instead. If you don't want to pay the money for the Copa 20 Plus, which is, in my opinion, right up there with
I agree with you.
Regular 3 Made in Japan as the best leather boots right now.
I'm with you. And also I would say if budget is a concern, Nike Premier 2 is pretty solid for what you can get them for.
Yeah, it's okay. For what you can get them for, I agree.
Yeah.
But there you have it, guys. Episode 62 of the Boot Nerds podcast, talking about Messi, Neymar, and CR7, obviously. If you have any questions that you'd like us to answer, that is going to be in the week. That's going to be next week, of course. Easter's not going to be a problem. So there you have it. But if you have any questions you'd like us to answer, we can dive a bit more into more questions next time. Leave them in the comment section right down below. Of course, also be sure to go and subscribe to the Boot Nerds podcast channel with the notifications on by clicking the green bubble in the middle of the screen. And also, if you want to kill some time and watch some cool videos, go subscribe to Josh's channel right over there. Maybe also car problems now that you're at it, or go check out what we're up to at Unisport by clicking the green bubble somewhere around my head. And with that said, guys, I've been JayMike and I approve this message. See you later.
Later.